Trump from press briefing after shooting outside White House. Donald Trump was abruptly escorted out of a press briefing by a Secret Service agent on Monday after an armed suspect was shot outside the White House. The president was just minutes into his coronavirus briefing when a Secret Service agent tasked Trump to leave the podium and quickly exit the room along with other administration officials. Reporters were briefly placed into lockdown as members of the president's security detail surrounded the West Wing. One Fox News correspondent said they'd heard 2 shots fired soon before Trump was hurried out. Trump returned to the stage around 10 minutes later to confirm someone had been taken to hospital following a shooting outside of the White House perimeter fence. "There was an actual shooting and somebody's been taken to the hospital," Trump said. The president said the shots were fired by law enforcement. U.S. passes 5 meters COVID-19 cases as Joe Biden says pandemic breaks heart. The suspect was armed, Trump said, but he offered few additional details. "I do want to thank Secret Service. They are fantastic. It seems that the person was shot by the Secret Service, so we'll see what happens," Trump said, calling the episode "It seems that the person was shot by the Secret Service, so we'll see what happens." "It was outside of the White House," he said. "It was outside of the White House," he continued. Law enforcement officials were trying to determine the suspect's motive. The Secret Service confirmed the shooting shortly afterwards, describing it as an officer-involved shooting at 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. A Secret Service statement said, at approximately 5:53 p.m. today, a 51-year-old male approached a U.S. Secret Service uniformed division officer who was standing at his post on the corner of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue in W near the White House complex. The suspect approached the officer and told the officer he had a weapon. The suspect then turned around, ran aggressively towards the officer, and in a drawing motion, withdrew an object from his clothing. He then crouched into a shooter's stance as if about to fire a weapon. The Secret Service officer discharged his weapon, striking the individual in the torso. Officers immediately rendered first aid to the suspect and DC Fire and EMS were called to the scene. Both the suspect and the officer were transported to local hospitals. The White House complex was not breached during the incident and no Secret Service protectees were ever in danger. The Secret Service Office of Professional Responsibility will be conducting an internal review of the officer's actions. The Metropolitan Police Department was contacted to conduct an investigation. Trump said he had not been taken into the secure underground bunker but to an area near the Oval Office. He later told reporters that he did not fear for his safety. Asked if he was shaken by the incident, Trump asked reporters, "I don't know. Do I seem rattled?" After fielding questions about the incident outside the White House, Trump returned to his scripted remarks on the nation's economic response to the coronavirus pandemic, promoted what he said were his administration's achievements, and used the platform for political messaging, warning that if Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden wins the election in November, Iran, China and North Korea will own this country. Trump has faced widespread criticism for lack of federal leadership during the pandemic. More than 163,000 people have died of COVID-19 related illnesses and more than 5 meters coronavirus cases have been confirmed in the U.S. so far. During the briefing, The Guardian's David Smith asked the president, if 160,000 people had died on President Obama's watch, do you think you would have called for his resignation? Trump responded, "No, I wouldn't have done that. I think it's been amazing what we've been able to do. Now we don't have to close it. If I would have listened to a lot of people, we would have kept it open." The president insisted the U.S. had done an extraordinary job. However, the U.S. government's own public health expert has admitted that more lives would have been saved if the U.S. had adopted social distancing restrictions earlier. Throughout the pandemic, Trump has strongly resisted efforts to put in place federal restrictions to slow the spread of the virus, has pushed states to reopen and has expressed sympathy to right-wing protests against lockdowns. Additionally, the U.S. is the only affluent nation to have suffered a sustained and severe outbreak for more than 4 months, as the New York Times recently noted.